So the most critical phase of flight is the takeoff, and the most critical phase of the takeoff is right when the airplane reaches rotate speed. Rotate is when I pull back on the yoke and we go flying. If I lose an engine then, it's a big deal. Watch what happened in Denver here recently.
United 2325, every once in a while, a little burst of flame coming out the right engine.
Hey, firm, we think we lost our right motor, United 2325.
Okay, so United 2325 has just lost their right engine. It's going to turn out that they ingested a rabbit, of all things, into that right engine. You might wonder, how in the world could they ingest a rabbit into that right engine? I'll talk to you about that in a minute, but let's see what happens next.
United 2325, Roger. And imagine that you just want to get worked in for a long pattern with the TRACON, thinking you can run your checklist.
Hey, firm, United 2325.
Okay, so the air traffic controller knows that these guys have a lot going on. They've got to run through a whole bunch of checklists. And so the first thing he says is, hey, do you guys want a longer pattern to come back in? Now, you might think, well, don't they want to get back to the airport as quickly as possible? Hey, the airplane flies just fine on one engine. They want to make sure that they get the fire contained in the one that is bad. And it sounds like it's about to be under control. And they need to get all of their checklists done so that they don't create a secondary problem. So it's going to take a little longer than just a quick run back to the airport. They've got checklists to run. Let's see what they do.
United 2325, contact approach 126.1, and they'll work you back around. They know you're coming.
126.1, United 2325.
So this is a Boeing 737 out of Denver's International Airport. They were headed up to Edmonton in Canada. Obviously, they're not going to make it. They're on their way back now to land at Denver. Denver is a high altitude airport. They're going to get cleared to about 9,000 feet here, which sounds like, wow, that's pretty high. Actually, Denver itself is almost at 6,000 feet. So it's really only 3,000 to 4,000 feet above the ground. They're going to keep them kind of low as they're coming back around so that they don't waste too much time coming back into the pattern. But they're going to get back on the ground here in just a few minutes. And in a minute, I'll tell you my rabbit story.
Okay, 2225, you want to return to Denver?
Yeah, hey, firm, there's fire on our wing.
Okay, 2225, Roger, return on right heading 100.
Right heading 100, United 2325.
Okay, 2225, it's able to maintain at 9,000, if not 5.
All right, we'll bring it up to 9,000 as we can, United 2325.
Okay, they're on one engine, so their climb is not going to be as aggressive as it would be with two engines, so it might take them a little while to get up there. These guys said you've got fire on the right wing, so apparently somebody in the back is calling them up and saying there's still sparks coming out or flames coming out of that engine. Most of those engines are designed to contain any sort of fire. So they're trying to get the lights in the cockpit to go out to say the fire is contained. They're also getting verification from the flight attendants in the back of the airplane. All of that stuff needs to get handled as the first priority. The next priorities are what we call in the industry 2 out and 2 in. What are 2 out and 2 in? All right. 2 out are this. I need to declare an emergency with ATC. In that case, I need to tell them how many souls are on board, what my fuel state is, and what my intentions are. They're going to do all of that here in a minute. The other one is dispatch at my company. I need to communicate with them and let them know I'm returning back to the airport and to have people waiting there to accommodate us when we get back on the ground. So those are the 2 people I need to talk to out. What are the 2 in? I need to talk to my passengers and I need to talk to my flight attendants. I'm going to talk to the flight attendants first. I'm going to call the number 1 flight attendant and say, we're coming right back to Denver. Obviously, you can see the flames coming out of the right engine. How long until we get on the ground? Probably less than 15 minutes. Put all your stuff away and prepare. We don't intend to evacuate, but if that changes, I'll let you know. So I'm giving them all of my intentions in what I think they need to get prepared for. The other is the passengers. The passengers now see it. They've all got their phones out at this point. They're all talking amongst themselves. I need to reassure the passengers. And so I'm going to come on with that reassuring voice and say, hey, folks, it's me, your captain. Here's what's going on. The airplane flies just fine on one engine. We're coming back to Denver. We should be on the ground here in less than 12, 13 minutes. Please follow the instructions of your flight attendants. I'll be back with you once we touch down. Those things taken care of. Now I've got checklists up in the cockpit I've got to work through. I'll talk to you more about those in just a minute.
Okay, 2325. If you can get it, information that's really current at Denver, you can plan a visual approach in like 35 right.
Visual approach 35 right, this is great. Are we going to start the turning And maybe we're going to request a hold. Let me give me a second. We will contact with the flight attendant. We see what happens over there. If the fire continue or no. As soon as we have more information, I'm going to call you back. And as soon as I finish my checklist, I'm going to request vectors to land.
Okay, I love this guy's voice. I just absolutely love it. He is extremely thorough as a co-pilot. He gives all the information that he's supposed to. And the neat part about that is he doesn't get a lot of repeat questions from air traffic control. He is so thorough in what he tells them he's going to do. What are they doing in the cockpit right now? The first is an engine fire and flight checklist. They're going to go through all the things on that to put the fire out. Once they get the fire out, now they've got to return to the airfield. So now they're going to do a overweight landing checklist. Why? Because they didn't burn off all the fuel that they were going to when they went to Edmonton. They're going to come back and they're going to land overweight. So there's certain items that they have to check off that checklist. Then they have to talk to the passengers and let them know what's going on. All of that is contained on a checklist. And then they're going to want to review a couple of things. Single engine, you're not going to take all the flaps that you normally would. There's certain buttons that you have to press in the cockpit to get the airplane to be configured for that. All of that stuff takes time. So they're going to grab holding here in just a minute to make sure that they get every I dotted and every T crossed.
Passengers 159 on board, and we have 22.3 fuel for 6 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, 2325, Roger, so I'm very sure if I understand you. You want to hold before you return?
Yes, ma'am. We need to hold because we need to verify everything here before the try to land.
2325, Roger. Fly heading 170, maintain 9,000 if you can. And let us know when you want to return and which runway.
Yes, I called you as soon as we have better information. And so that 34 left is good for us.
Yeah, 2325, Roger. You can plan this approach runway 34 left.
34 left and continue climbing to 9,000. United 2324.
Okay, this is a great co-pilot. He's got all the answers already ready. He doesn't have to say, stand by, I'll get back to you. He's already ready with an answer. She asked him, what runway do you want? He said, 34 left. That's obviously a conversation that he and the captain have had, and they're going to get into holding here. And so while we're in holding, let me tell you my rapid story, okay? Years ago, I was on active duty with the Navy, and a lot of airports are just perfect for rabbits. They're flat, there's deep grass, it's loud and noisy. The normal predators aren't there. Many of the airports are surrounded by barbed wire fences. The rabbits can get inside the fence, but the other, predators, the wolves and so forth can't. And so it's a wonderful, perfect breeding ground for little rabbits. And so many times at night, when you land at one of those airports, and I was over in Rota, Spain years ago, when you would taxi off, your lights would be shining out and you'd taxi off the runway and you would see in the grass thousands of little red eyeballs peering back at you. I mean, literally thousands of rabbits down in the grass. And I always just thought that was absolutely a riot. So one day we were getting ready to take off out of Rota, Spain, and we were number 4 for takeoff. So we're taxiing this way and the runway is oriented this way. And one of these little bunny rabbits hops onto the runway. We're watching it, hop, 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 hop. It goes right up to the center line and sits there. And here comes an airplane for takeoff, and it's one of my airplanes. It's not a small airplane. It's pretty big, and we're like, oh, this rabbit's going to get it. And sure enough, they're clear for takeoff, and they run right over the bunny rabbit. And the rabbit, you can see it, gets dusted up behind the airplane, goes about 25 feet and falls back down to the pavement. I'm like, oh, the poor bunny got squished. Pretty soon the ears pop up, whoop, like that, right? The bunny didn't perish. He's alive. He hops back to where he was. Here comes another airplane behind him. Now, this one's bigger. It's a C-130. It's got 4 big engines. It's got a bunch of tires underneath of it. This bunny is doomed on this one. The C-130 gets cleared for takeoff, runs right over the rabbit. The rabbit goes flying through the air again, goes about 100 feet this time, hits the pavement again. I'm like, oh no, dead bunny guts everywhere. Ears come up, whoop, like that. He starts hopping back to where he started. Like, unbelievable. Now, at this point in my airplane, everybody is pressed up against the window looking out at the bunny. What's going to happen? What's coming next? A C-5. Now, if you know what a C-5 is, it's like one of the biggest airplanes on the planet. It's probably got, 100 tires underneath of it. This bunny is doomed. There's no way it's going to survive the C-5 takeoff. The C-5 gets cleared for takeoff, runs right over the bunny. The bunny flies into the wake behind the airplane, goes about 350 feet, lands on the pavement again. We're like, oh no, this is awful. And gears come up one more time, and the bunny starts hopping, and we're like, unbelievable. Now it's our turn. I'm like, look, this bunny has survived 3 near-death experiences. There's no way I'm going anywhere near the bunny. So I taxied actually on the runway around the bunny before I push up my takeoff power, because I didn't want to be the guy responsible for killing the bunny. Now you know.
And United 2325. We're going to hang out at 8,000 feet if that works for you guys.
Okay, 2325, that's fine, maintain 8,000. And do you know how long you might need to hold?
We got a bunch of checklists to run through, so we'll get back to you as quick as we can, United 2325.
All they could make was
2325,
8,000 feet. So that's good.
2325, that's a good spot there. You can hold there, right turns, and 2-minute legs if that works for you.
Okay, so doesn't Denver have to send him to a already built holding pattern? Nope. There's a little button in my computer that says hold present position. And if I hit that one button, it builds a holding pattern for me right where I am. All holding patterns are right-hand turns, usually 1-minute legs. That's all these guys need. They hit the button, they start holding until they get all done with their checklist.
Yeah, 2325. We'll plan on that.
Plan on that.
What type of time frame do you think you guys are going to have, sir?
We're probably 5 to 10 minutes. We're running some checklists, 2325.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, 5 to 10 minutes.
2325. Sorry, but we have all the indications here on board. We have the engine number 2, which is down because we have fire during the takeoff, the D1. And the landing gear, we have indication there is no lock up. So we're going to finish with the other checklist. Now we are checking about the landing gear. As soon as we have it,
Okay, now they've got a secondary problem. Not only was the bunny ingested into the engine a problem and the engine fire and getting all of that taken care of, now one of their landing gear does not indicate up. That doesn't mean it's down. It just means it doesn't indicate up. What is that? It could be any number of things. It could be the gear doors weren't closing. But now they've got a secondary problem. They're going to have to deal with this one.
2325. I think I copied all that. So I got your number 2 engine is shut down, and the indication is the right gear is unsafe. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, we have all the landing gear is on insecure. So we put an up, we set up, but all the indications of the landing gear appear the light that is now locked. So we don't know it was 45 that they have a problem with the engine number 2. So we need to verify the landing gear first, and I can report you to that.
Yeah, 2325. I appreciate it. Thanks. We got it all here.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is we don't have a safe indication on the gear, and it's in the up position. They're going to bring the gear down here in a few minutes. If it comes down locked, they're good. They'll press on.
Approach from United 2325. Just want to make sure we got the emergency gear rolled for 34 left for us.
Yeah, 2325. They're going to have everybody out there for you.
Perfect. And then we're going to keep continuing this way. We're just looking for a kind of a gentle vector on the final here and a couple mics.
2325, Roger. I might have to get you a little bit more northbound just for terrain, but we're looking good now.
All right,
Okay,
sounds good.
so did you hear what the captain said just now? He said in a couple of mics. All right, that's cool aviation terms for a couple of miles. It's just an expression that guys use.
Good.
Approach United 2325, we are ready to receive vectors to land in the route.
2325, fly heading 020, intercept the localizer, runway 34 left.
020, intercept the localizer 34 left. United 2325.
2325, the tower advised earlier there was FOD at Delta 5. They've been out there working on it, so I'm not sure if it's still there, but there was FOD from your departure earlier at Delta 5.
Okay, so they did lose something from their engine when they ingested the bunny. How can you ingest a bunny on takeoff? Those engines are sucking so much air in so hard and so fast during that takeoff roll that anything underneath the immediate vicinity of the engine is going to get sucked up into the engine. So that little bunny didn't weigh enough to avoid that, and it got pulled right off the ground and right into that engine. That's how that happens.
Roland, thank you, my friend.
2325, everybody else out there is for the parallel. You're the only one for that runway. Contact Denver Tower 135.3. You guys take care.
135.3 United. 2326. Thank you for your help, my friend. Thank you.
Everybody sounds pretty relaxed.
You require any additional assistance at this time?
Negative 2325.
Okay, these guys get the gear to come down and lock. They continue on with their approach. They have an uneventful landing. One of the things I briefed the passengers on is when we do get down on the ground, we're going to come to a full stop on the runway. I will then key up my mic when we come to a full stop and I'll say remain seated, remain seated, remain seated. And then I'll inform people the fire trucks are going to come out and they're going to circle the airplane. They're going to give me a visual inspection. They're going to talk to me on the radio. There's going to be lots of flashing lights and all that. No concern, folks. Everything is fine. You'll hear from me once I get word from the fire chief that everything is good, and then we're clear to taxi back to the gate. And they did. They taxied back to the gate, let everybody off on the jet bridge in a normal manner. This one had a really nice outcome, but there was lots of communication here and even a secondary problem, all caused by a little bitty bunny of all things. Well, now you know. I'm Captain Steeve. Fly safe.